Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Today we have 3 brand new stories. Let's start with a short story to warm you up. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Make it classy, lots of stars. In college, I worked at a local newspaper, ad layout guy using Cork Express. There was a local sheriff election coming up. The incumbent wanted a quarter-page ad, worked up a design, we did our proofing, and sent it along. Nope. Sheriff hated the ad, and the next one, and my colleagues' versions, so he came in to instruct me. Make it classy, he insisted, and demanded to my boss that he stand there to make sure I got it right. Every iteration, he'd get more irritated and tell me, classy, make it classy. What is classy, I asked. Make it classy. Lots of stars. So I started laying out the most garish ad possible. Stupid font, a border of little Sheriff 10 stars, and went so far as to put every friggin' vowel inside a star. The guy friggin' loved it. He ran it in every issue and took out a full-page color ad in the Sunday edition. Happily, Sheriff Classy lost that election in a landslide defeat. It had nothing to do with my ad, I'm sure. But God, it was satisfying as all hell. Thereafter, whenever we had a difficult client, we'd just say, make it classy to each other. And our second story. Do the work exactly how you want it done. Fine by me. I worked as a drone pilot / mine surveyor for a man-child, using drones to take pictures of the mines, creating a 3D model out of those pictures, and then calculating all sorts of goodies for the clients, like their gold yield and the amount of crap they have to move, etc. It's really technical and can easily go completely to crap if you don't know what you're doing, and even if you know what you're doing, it can still very easily go to complete crap. I'm licensed and certified. I've been playing the game for a long time now, and I know how it works most of the time. My ex-boss, on the other hand, didn't. See, he got his surveyor's license during the 1980s by complete chance. He was a simple miner who just happened to be in the right place at the right time, getting a free university scholarship to become a surveyor because they had a few grants left over and called out who wanted it. His hand was one of the ones they picked. The second he got his license, he quit his job and convinced an old retiree surveyor to throw in his retirement, all cards on the table, to start up their own surveying business. He spent the entire time at the golf course and the bar, making a fat amount of cash out of his newly founded self-milking cash cow. Not once did he carry out an actual survey. Hell, I doubt he's even stepped foot on a mine since then. He just invoiced the clients, told the retiree where to go, and collected a paycheck. So time moves on, work slowly filters in, and as one does when they reach the ripe old age of 80-something, the retiree decides, F this, and kicks the bucket. My boss's cash cow just died on him, and no matter how hard he squeezes the teats, the only thing coming out of it now was dust. The only other employee was the other guy who acted as his assistant and basically just carried heavy crap for them. He didn't have a backup. So of course he hired me. I was pretty fresh into the game at the time, starving and basically homeless, and in my eyes, this guardian angel just ascended from the heavens and offered me a way out. He basically told me that we have to survey X site and get the data to X client, didn't tell me how, didn't tell me what data exactly they want. Hell, he didn't even tell me when they needed it by. He just pointed to the place on Google, told me to go there and get it done. Somehow I did. I scraped by and eventually figured out just what the F to do. At some point, we were kicked off the mine for reasons that my boss didn't disclose to me and had to open up our own offices. My boss graciously dug deep into his pockets, kicked out his eldest son, and dedicated that room in his house for our use. Now I was spending every day with the man, since if he wasn't at the golf course, he was at home. We started butting heads. He had this illusion in his head of how things work and how you're supposed to do things, and I had practical experience and qualifications to tell me otherwise. Every single day was a fight, and every single day he'd tell me how he wanted it to be done, and I'd just turn around and do it the way it's meant to be done. I started passing out my CV like herpes at a frat party. My timing was perfect, though, because a little blip and crash of the 2020 job economy happened right as I started searching. The interviews I had lined up all got canceled. The people who I already interviewed with, who seemed ecstatic to have me, suddenly didn't answer my calls. I felt like a scorned lover waiting on the curb in the rain. I was considering maybe going back to IT. I could maybe make $1. I felt hopeless and dejected, doomed to a life of taking care of a disgusting man-child and his fat wallet. Eventually, though, a second angel descended from the heavens, once again saving me from that seductive little noose. Finally, I could effing leave this place. I was waiting on the contract, not really willing to commit to anything without it being in writing, when my boss and I got into another massive screaming fight. After hour 3, something inside me snapped. You want it done your way? Effing fine. I'll do it your way. I committed effing hard to following his procedure every step of the way. Surveys were taking 3 times longer to do, the drone crashed 4 times, my first ever crash, and all of them were near write-offs. The 3D models stopped looking like mines and started resembling potato chips and Twizzlers. He had clients calling him day and night, nonstop, asking him just what the F is he doing. Eventually, he gave my number to them so they can call me directly, and I started getting calls day and night, nonstop, until I just turned off my phone outside of office hours. Clients were threatening to drop the contracts. Clients were threatening to sue. My contract came in from my new company, and I signed the dotted line with a smile on my face. One client stopped calling and stopped paying. Word got out, as it always does, that his company is just some redneck hoo-ha being run out of someone's home. Another client canceled the contract completely and threatened legal action. I handed in my resignation. My boss looked at me pleadingly, offering me a F-ton of cash to stay. If cocaine could make you feel even half as good as I felt then, sign me up. I told him to get F'd. He begged me to write him a manual on how to do the work, to show him how to process the data, to fly the pits, to set up the instruments. I spent the last 2 weeks there writing out every procedure he ever told me I needed to follow, sent it through to him, and walked away. A few weeks later, he was scheduled to do a survey. I was suddenly spammed with calls and emails and messages from him asking me how to do this, or how to fly that, or where to find this data. His manual wasn't working. Surprise, surprise. I don't know. Just read the manual. My new company is currently picking up all the contracts he's dropped. If we manage to get the last one, I'm going to ask them for a bonus. And our last story, ruining careers and other fine arts. The setting. After finishing basic units in community college, I had transferred to a 4-year university. My family had fallen on hard times, so I'd taken up a part-time job to supplement my financial aid. The job was at a cell phone kiosk located inside of a virtually empty Kmart. It was minimum wage, but it was all I could get at the time. The target. D-Bag Dan, a regional manager of the kiosk company. This guy considered himself to be the next Steve Jobs, yet had absolutely zero practical experience in sales or marketing. He wasn't directly abusive, however, he made a point of promoting the 2 douchiest people in the company and assigning them to make everybody else's life a living hell. The reason. I could spend hours writing about my time at the kiosk, but I'll spare you the boring stuff. Let's just say it got to the point where I carried a pocket recorder and installed a call recorder app on my BlackBerry. Even the Kmart manager had submitted formal complaints about the attitudes and actions of my immediate superiors. The last straw. I took a much-needed 5-day vacation to go home and visit family. I sat in traffic, 4 members of my immediate family cramped in my small car. My phone rings and I answer with my Bluetooth speaker. Me. Hello? Manager. What the F? A few minutes went by with my manager berating me for taking a 5-day vacation, even though he had approved it. I finally hung up on him. My family was mortified. For the first time in my entire life, I saw my grandmother without a smile on her face. I dialed D-Bag Dan. D-Bag Dan. Hello? Me. Hey, D-Bag Dan, I need to report abuse from my manager again. Why? He just called me and berated me for taking a vacation that he had approved. Where'd you go? I don't see how that matters. It does. Tell me. I went home to visit my family. For how long? 5 days. You what? He approved it a month ago. You need to return to the store now. I'm like 400 miles away. I don't give a F. You can't take a 5-day vacation. The conversation continued to this effect. I could almost see the steam coming out of my grandmother's ears. Finally, I ended the call. I was done dealing with it. I drove back to my parents' house and pulled out my laptop. I packaged up all of the recordings into a zip file and called up the company HR. I filed my report and sent off the recordings. The following Monday, I woke up to my alarm at 8 a.m. I hadn't heard back from HR yet, so I called them and asked for an update. "It's under investigation," was the answer. I told the HR rep that I wasn't comfortable going to work. I gave them my formal resignation without notice and hung up. A few hours later, I got a call from HR again. They told me they were putting me on paid leave and would be in contact soon. Another week passed, and I was invited to lunch with the HR manager. The resolution. D-Bag Dan was fired on the spot. The management under him were heavily audited, and 3 of the 4 were also fired. The audit revealed that one of the managers was committing fraud by creating fake accounts, then selling the sold phones on Craigslist. Further investigation revealed that D-Bag Dan was also in on the deal, fudging the numbers wherever he could. Both were convicted. Manager was found to have a permanent record of physical violence, one that D-Bag Dan had hidden from the HR team. He fell back on drugs and eventually skipped town. I got my job back and was given the title of manager for the few short months that I stayed with the company. The revenge. About a year after the incident, I was on LinkedIn and saw a people you may know recommendation. It was D-Bag Dan. I checked his profile and was surprised to find out that he had a job as a regional manager for a fairly sizable electronics retailer. That was at least until somebody sent an anonymous tip to his new employer. Suddenly, he didn't seem to be employed there anymore. Effing brilliant. They all deserved what they got. I hope that with the title of manager, you got a pay raise as well. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.